The Elden Ring DLC has some really strong weapons and spells, like the Blood Fiend's Arm and the impenetrable Thorns, so naturally, I thought to do the exact opposite by doing an absolutely miserable run of the entire DLC using one of the goofiest incantations, the Porcupine Quills, or as it's actually called, the Aspects of the Crucible Thorns incantation. You find this incantation as a drop from the Golden Hippopotamus boss in the Shadowkeep, and you can see what this incantation is supposed to be like when the boss uses it. When you use it though, it's a different story. This incant is probably the weirdest one I've used. It can either do like 50 damage or it can do like 3000 damage. There's really no in between. It's also incredibly slow and locks you in the animation, so good luck trying to use it. This run was a lot of fun, so I hope you guys enjoy my suffering. As always, please do remember to like and subscribe for more. Enjoy! To start off, the first thing I do is go around the map grabbing all the freely available Scadu fragments before fighting any boss. These fragments pump up my damage negation, which we're gonna want to max out because I'm betting I'm gonna get hit a lot using this spell. And that's also why I decided to fight Commander Gaius as the first boss because of the 5 Scadu fragments right behind him. Since the Porcupine incantation is really slow, I used a Radahn icon talisman and Azure staff in my offhand, which combined together gives you the maximum achievable cast speed for spells and incantations. You could also use the Beloved Stardust, which is a new DLC talisman for maximum cast speed instead, but it comes at the trade-off of you taking 30% extra damage, and since I figured I'd be getting hit a lot, I wanted to try and tank myself up as much as possible. Lastly, I used a full Crucible tree set, which buffs this spell by another 10%, which is a nice bonus to the armor I get. My first attempt at Gaius started off as expected, an accidental charge R2 with my fists right on his face. Now, I didn't think the 20 damage mattered much, but my chat insisted that I reset, so I did. I had a few issues with this fight. The Porcupine Quills are so miserable to aim as they move your entire character forward while casting, so it was really hard to land consistent damage. Along with the damage that goes anywhere from 100 to a few thousands and the excruciatingly slow cast speed when you charge the spell, the fight was gonna take me a few attempts. I took a bunch of deaths due to these complications that I'll just blame on lag or something. Oh! Oh god. I had a really solid attempt here until Gaius decides to turn into a truck and just ram into me a couple of times in a row. What the fuck, man? In case you're struggling with this transition flying attack, the best way I found to deal with it is to directly roll into him when he starts spinning and lands. If you pull this off right, none of the gravity waves should hit you and you get a really big punish window. I play the rest of the fight very safe and take my time with it, but unfortunately this means my light roll physic runs out, and at 8 endurance, there's no chance I can carry all this armor I'm wearing. So I removed some of it during the fight, and just so you know, this is gonna be a bit of a recurring theme for this whole run, because most of the fights take way too long. Ah! Believers! There it is! Once Gaius is done, I collect these 5 Scadu fragments behind him and make my way to the next boss, the Dancing Lion. A fun fact about this spell is that it deals physical damage. This means buffs like Golden Vow and Flame Grammy's Strength synergize really well with it. The Lion is both a good and bad boss for this specific build. He has some incredibly fast bite attacks if you're in front of him that are impossible to dodge if you're caught in the middle of a cast. However, him having a bigger character model means more of your quills do end up hitting him, dealing more damage. I look for the double spin attack he does because you can go under him and cast a fully charged quill spray that deals a lot of damage. Lion versus porcupine. Who wins? Oh, there's a hitbox there? Really? Ah! Believe it or not, I first tried the lion. Even though he's kind of the weakest remembrance boss, I still wasn't expecting this incredibly slow spell to make such short work of him. But I did have a feeling the next boss wouldn't be so easy. Enter Jori. Jori is probably one of the most annoying bosses in the game. The only saving grace being you can backstab him. Oh wait, I can't because I'm a porcupine and can only use my quills. Wonderful. This boss is incredibly frustrating to fight, and with a slow spell, I was not looking forward to it. He spams his magic all over the place, and then poof, he just teleports away. Then he summons his crew who'll pelts you with projectiles and chase you down like you owe them money. And then he does this stupid spell where you can't do anything for 10 seconds. So yeah, I died a bunch of times getting clobbered from every direction possible. No! Yes! No! No! What? He's got no HP! Oh my god. Finally, I decided to just brute force it, and Jori was dead before any more unfortunate 1 HP incidents. This was another boss I was expecting to be stuck on for a while, but hey, thankfully I was free. Onwards to the next boss, I decide to take my chances against the Mother of Fingers, Metyr. I wasn't expecting Metyr's phase 1 to be too much of a problem just because of how big she is. No, literally, her big character model makes my quills so much better. Plus, she's got this weak spot right front and center ready for me to attack with my quills, which makes her take bonus damage. The main issue with this fight, like a typical Metyr fight, ends up being phase 2. The phase transition is kinda wonky where you just have to run away or get punished by this giant hitbox. After which you can do this insane double laser attack at any point in the fight. Unless you have something prepared like Raptor of the Mists or Bloodhound Step, get ready to lose HP. The only reliable way of avoiding this attack is by staying a football field's length away from her when she starts it, so you can run away from the first laser and run back in for the second. Another surprising first try for the Porcupine King. Maybe there's something to this build after all. Oh, free punish? Yes! Oh my god, first try Metyr? Hello? The next boss we decide to do is Malnourished Radahn, or the Putrescent Knight. This boss ended up being one of the harder bosses on the run simply because of how skinny he is. Most of the quills just miss. I mean, I guess he is literally a skeleton. Combined with his many delayed attacks, there weren't a lot of punish windows I could utilize. I mostly look for this really goofy jump double horse charge attack that he does because it leaves him open for a charged quill punish if you roll it right. Beyond that, I mostly try to fit in tiny uncharged quill attacks. I get the phase 2 transition attack and I do a triple jump dodge. These jumps were kinda hard for me to learn initially, but once you get the timing down, it becomes fairly consistent. Unfortunately, I die at the end of my first attempt. Okay. Fuck! And my second attempt. I shouldn't do this. I wanted to see if there was like a punish window I could abuse, but I take the lessons of my previous failures into my third. Nice. Another punish here. Oh no! I'm fine. I'm fine. Die! Oh, I'm okay. GG. I have that under control, not a problem. Next, we head to the Scadutree Avatar, our first and only 3-phase boss. The Avatar is an interesting boss and surprisingly, another good contender for what is now coming to be a convincing build, the Giga Chad Porcupine. Going into this fight, I assumed it would be really hard to land hits on the Avatar because of how much it moves with its attacks. But as you see, I quickly realized the Sunflower Head is so big that if you position yourself right, you'll hit it with all your quills, dealing massive damage on the headshots. As a general tip for this fight, you want to make sure you kill each phase of the boss and then take the riposte. This ensures the next phase spawns with lower HP. However, since I'm doing this entire run using only an incantation, I don't take the riposte. I personally struggle with phase 2 of this fight the most because of the extra thorns the Avatar spawns for each attack it does. They seem to be positioned randomly around the attacks, and I'm not very good at the timing just yet. Phase 3, on the other hand, while it may look scary because of the massive light explosion attack, dodging it is fairly simple once you know the timing, and you get a huge punish window immediately after. The rest of the fight is very clean and a masterclass of skill, and I definitely don't die with 1 HP left on the boss. No! No! He's gonna do the triple. I don't know how to dodge the triple. Not the Thorn! No! Oh. Easy. Fuck! I thought I finally landed it. GG though. Woo. The next boss we face is Bayle the Dread. Bayle is another massive boss, but taking advantage of his size is a little bit more complicated than it would seem. The quills work really well on Bayle because of his large character model, but only if you use it while under him, instead of targeting the head like I did in my attempts. There's just something about attacking the dragon's head that I gravitate towards, but Bayle has a lot of attacks that you can run into him and get a punish for. A fun fact about Bayle is that he only has 1 leg. You're probably wondering, why does that matter? But it does. Bayle actually takes bonus damage if you attack his cut leg compared to the rest of his body. I use this occasionally throughout the fight whenever I find myself in a position to do so. The phase 2 ends up being longer than I would have liked because of his lightning and flying attacks, especially because I ran out of heals. But with a little bit of luck and obviously tons of skill, I clutch it. Okay, big hits, big hits. Okay, give me a good attack. Give me something I can punish, man. Don't lead the fire. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, good attack. Oi! Oi! What? Okay, 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 okay. Oh my god, dude, this fucking guy. He's not giving it to me. Die. Okay. Bayle, please. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Once we're done with Bayle, I decide to head to Rellana. I like to do Rellana later on in my runs as she's a lot harder early on when you don't have too many Scadutree levels. She's probably one of the harder bosses in the run because of how agile she is, along with her massive moveset, but she's thankfully not the tankiest, especially because of all the bonus damage that we have at this stage in the game. She also takes a decent bit of extra damage to pierce attacks that I utilize. This fight has a lot of really cool strafes, jumps, and crouches you can do, and I pull some of them off to get punishes. Her phase 2 transition is a major punish window I abuse where she stands still. I get a fully charged quill cast on the transition for massive damage. With a few more well-positioned punishes, I tank some of her attacks and seal the deal. Okay, maybe I can punish this if I'm good. I'll just tank through it. I'll just fucking tank through it. Messmer, much like Rellana, is also a fight completely relying on movement. I play phase 1 looking for uncharged punishes because of the slow cast speed and slowly whittle him down. A tip for his attacks is to roll into the fire and roll away from the pokes. A lot of the times, if you roll away from the pokes, he'll follow up with a much slower poke that you can strafe to the side and punish, as I do in this fight. He's got a lot of attacks that look very similar but have different timing, so this is definitely a boss fight where experience is key. I would recommend in general staying with melee range of Messmer and not far away, as he'll do some of his more complicated range attacks at a distance. Once I'm done with phase 1, it's time to set up my positioning for phase 2. Unironically, I feel phase 2 is a much easier phase to deal with than phase 1. My DPS for phase 2 goes up by a massive margin, as I can now punish the snake, 99% of which are going to be headshots. His attacks, aside from the snake attacks, are also mostly phase 1 attacks, with this added variation of a delayed twirling poke that he does, which honestly gives me a new punish window. The snake attacks can be confusing, but after a little bit of practice, they're fairly consistent to dodge, which, coming into the Messmer fight, I was not expecting the hitboxes on the snakes to be well designed, so that was a pleasant surprise. The fight ends up almost being a trade wreck because I get punished for healing, but we win these. No 1 HP memes today. I can clutch it! I can clutch it! No! Oh, I'm what? Oh! Oh! Oi! The fucking clutch! Holy! The fucking clutch, I actually clutched it. Who is this? Who is he? This is the new Ainrun. After Messmer, we move on to Romina, Saint of the Bud. Romina is a very interesting fight that flows in a completely different rhythm compared to the other fights in the game. Her attacks are fairly easy to deal with the exception of a couple, and most of them have a visual and audio tell, which we don't see a lot with these games. I jump her centipede sweep attacks and mostly try to maintain a medium distance from her. The double coil attack is one of the difficult ones to deal with, but I do a single roll to the right and the follow-ups miss me, which gives me an opportunity to get a fully charged cast of my porcupine quills. Once phase 2 hits, she starts stalling a little bit with her flying butterfly attacks, but other than that, it's mostly the same. I get some lucky strafes by using the porcupine quills to move me and expertly avoid her attacks. In fact, I noticed my success with these attacks that I kept punishing them a lot more. The fight was going really well. Too well, even. Nice, I did it again. Let's go. Racked. She almost catches me with her worst attack, the delayed triplet true combo with her centipede followed up by 2 of her slashes. But I managed to only get hit by 1 of these attacks. But as they say, my friends, Overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer. While this may look like a failure, remember, we don't call these failures. L is for learning, not losing.
Okay, I think you actually do need to be light roll for that punish. Anyway, GG's, Romina. No, there was no way I was throwing that one. There was no way I was throwing that one.
With 3 fights left, we head to probably my favorite boss of the DLC, Midra, the Lord of Frenzied Flame. How will he fare against someone RPing as a porcupine, I wonder? I immediately realized that this was going to be a long, drawn-out fight. Unfortunately, being trapped in this manse for God knows how long, they probably didn't have a good food plan because Midra is as skinny as a toothpick, so most of my quills don't even hit him. Along with his attacks being so fast, I can only use uncharged casts on this fight, which means my damage output was not gonna be great. This is one of the fights where you can see how the quills don't do consistent damage and change based on my character's positioning. Each of my good casts do around 1,000 damage, and Midra has around 45,000 HP, which means if I played optimally, I would need to hit him with 45 casts of the spell. Realistically though, I was hitting him maybe 1 every 3 casts optimally, so this was gonna take a while. So I decided to hunker down and, well, to spray my quills.
Sip. I should be able to do this if I play optimally. Okay, that wasn't optimal. That was 134 damage. Oh my god, what am I doing? What am I doing? Okay, 0 of each flask. Oy! Okay, here we go. Here we go. Will he clutch? Or will he fumble? Nice. Big 1K. Big 1K. Strafe into the 1K. Boom. Woo! All right, some big rolls there in the end. Some big rolls. Believers, congratulations.
After the glory of the Midra fight, we are rewarded for our efforts with a very annoying gang fight. Leda and friends, yay! This fight ended up being the hardest fight in the entire run simply because of one reason. Input reads. NPCs in this game input read anytime you cast a spell, and they were not happy with my quills. Anytime I would cast the quills, Hornsent, Dane, and Leda would just start rolling like there was no tomorrow. And yes, I also left Hornsent alive, which was probably not a good idea. This fight was cursed. I tried my hardest, but it just felt like I wasn't making any progress.
This is so fucked. I think I got this, guys. Okay. Okay, never mind.
I died once, and again, and again, and again.
Okay. She just hyper-armored through it.
Finally, with a little bit of help from my good friend Natan, we beat up Dane to the point where I managed to kill him while Natan kept Leda busy. Unfortunately, Leda took out Natan too. Finally, it was a battle for the ages. Me versus Leda. The chosen of Mikola versus one guy who thinks he's a porcupine.
I've got 1 flask, but I have the passive healing that I could get. Oh, it's winnable. It's winnable. Here. Nice. That was big. That was big. Big, 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 big. Why did I take one? Because I was fat rolling. Well, hold on, hold on. I got this. I got this. Yes!
Make the world.
Finally, it was time for the final boss, promised consort Radahn. This fight was everything I expected it to be with this run. Pure and utter pain, but the type I enjoy. The damage was not a problem. In fact, it was surprisingly good. The problem was getting a charged cast off. There were barely any opportunities to punish. The damage was decent if I got a charged cast off, but the opportunities were so limited. The one attack I did manage to punish was a double swipe into overhead Earthshaker attack he does, where you can go behind him and get a charge attack off. This would mostly end up with us trading as well, but it did manage to get me into Phase 2. Phase 2, though, is another story. Enter lasers, light rays, and Mikola. Oh, and remember that really good punish I got in Phase 1 where I go behind him? Yeah, it doesn't work in Phase 2 anymore because of the huge light explosion he does now at the end of the combo. I don't know what it is about this fight. I was doing my best for as long as I could, but he just has a way of going crazy in ways you never expect. For some reason, he decides to start stomping me 100 times in a row, which was exciting. What? He even decided to give me the point-blank Lion's Claw. That's new. The rest of the fight goes pretty well, and here I unveil the latest in Radahn Meteor defense technology. If you jump at a certain time while Radahn starts his meteors, he'll eventually land back down in front of you with no meteors, giving you a free punish window. This is goofy as hell and always looks hilarious, so make sure to try it out on your own runs. I am inside you!
Look, eyes closed. Ah, shit, I'm sorry! Eyes closed, it's too easy. Yes!
This run was crazy amounts of fun, and I think we can all agree now that porcupines truly are the superior beings. As always, if you guys enjoyed the video, please do make sure to check out some of my other runs.